had a question on the internet the other day. A fellow had an old DiMarzio super distortion, and they wanted to know, it had this 3-wire configuration where you had a hot, a ground, and this tap third wire in addition to the shield. And they wanted to know, could I tap this or split the coil so I could use it in like a single coil configuration? Well, the answer is yes, but you need to be real careful about what wire goes to what coil and is it in phase or out of phase. Because when you start using multiple pickups together, if you have the phase wrong, you get this kind of nasal tone, which is great if you're doing like Brian May sounding kind of things. But for 90% of the playing out there, most of the time you're going to want to have those coils in phase. So the technique is easy. All you need is a simple voltmeter like this that can read ohms and volts DC. Those are the only two that we need. So let's step through this and I'll show you the technique that I used. I'll be testing several pickups today. I have 2 Mighty Mite mother buckers, and the first one works. It's got a red wire for hot, a blue wire for ground, and a bare wire for the shield. The second one has a bad coil, so I wound up snipping that connected third wire to test each coil individually. And I have 2 Phil Eggers Flatso pickups that he and I worked on many years ago. First one is a 3/4 sized wooden enclosed single coil pickup with a hot and shield on the wires. And then there's a more full-sized single coil with vintage cloth wires. And then I have a couple of my own pickups that I wound on some sewing machine bobbins and encapsulated in some bottle caps. They have identical hot and ground wires. So testing the first mother bucker, or the first Mighty Mite humbucker, it measured about 21.7 K, and then putting it on the volts DC setting, I tapped the magnets with the flat-headed screwdriver and got about 33 millivolts, positive on the touch, negative on the pull away. Okay, so I know that the red wire is hot and the blue wire is ground in this case. Now the second Mighty Mite mother bucker reads open loop or a zero load. So I snipped those connecting white and black wires and I tested each coil. The red and the black pair still read open, and the blue and the white wires measured about 9K. So checking the volts DC for that good coil, I got a very small voltage on the slug coil and about 30 millivolts on that screw coil. Testing the wooden Flatso, resistance came in at about 3.1K, but the tap test measured minus 45 millivolts on the touch. So it's out of phase. So I will need to hook this one up backwards with the wire wrap as the hot and the center conductor as the ground. And for the single coil Flatso, it measured in 3.3K, and the tap test came in at about 45 millivolts, and it's in phase. So that yellowish wire is the hot and the black wire is the ground. Now for the sewing machine bobbin pickups, these are a minuscule 40 ohms, and the tap test is less than 1 millivolt. These are really, really weak, but they do work. And I made these so that they each have a reverse magnetic polarity. So one of them is north pole with a clockwise coil, and the other one is a south pole counterclockwise coil. So basically, if I put them together, they could make a single string humbucker when they're used together. So this is why checking phase is so important when you have those two different pickups, because you want them to work together. When you have that string undulating on top of them, you want it to amplify and boost the signal of the guitar string, but for any of the noise that's coming, electromagnetic interference from the lights and such, you want that to cancel because the coils are out of phase with each other. But magnetically, when you add that component in there, the string works to combine that signal. Anyway, more physics than you wanted to know. The thing is, I hope this helped. All you need is a simple volt and ohm meter. You can check any guitar pickup out there and you can test it to make sure it's in phase, make sure they work together so you can get the best, or whatever tone you choose to do. Anyway, hope this helps. See you guys later.